stamps. And I just got to tell you, about 10 minutes ago, I realized that that I sent out in emails to everybody. So I don't know. Give me a shout out. Whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or my website, I think I got around to all those areas and got the links switched around to get them right so that I could make sure that you guys could hear me. But I don't know if it's working. And I'm just going to hope for the best and keep going. It will be recorded. I've really made an attempt to get back to continue to do a few things, but really want to get back to people about stamping. So anyway, this morning we're celebrating Celebration because it's the last few days. A lot of people didn't even know we were having it, but so Celebration is just a time when people I don't know who's out there. I can't see anything. I'm hoping that I am. It doesn't look like I am. Let me check. Oh, yep, I am. Anyway, so I guess I'll just get started. One of the things I will tell you is that we will be having door prize drawing. And hopefully you'll be able to find the links. Those are live once in YouTube at the bottom in the description. And I also did it onto, oh, hi, there's Lori, and yay, people are here. I'm getting comments. That's good. My sound is going in and out. That's good to know because audio is not good. Okay, I'm going to probably switch my audio. I was trying a new... I'll unmute my... There, is the audio better now? I tried a new microphone. It's obviously, I haven't got it figured out. As soon as I think I got it figured out, I don't. So let me know if that audio is better. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to have to talk a little louder when I'm over demonstrating. So, oh, Sylvia, thanks. Yeah, I went, I let my hair grow out, quit dyeing it. I like it. It's easy to take care of. Hi, Pat and Debbie. Welcome. Okay, so that's good. People are out there. So anyway, I've got a couple things to share with you today. Oh, good. The audio is better. Okay, so what I did is I just went with my microphone that's on my computer. I tried something newfangled, and obviously that's not going to work till I get it better. But I did. I will tell you that we practiced, but practice doesn't make perfect. So I need to figure out what I'm doing with all of this stuff again. One of the things that happened over the last year and a half is that my computer stuff, hi Helen, my computer went obsolete with my online streaming, and I just kept putting it on the back burner and not dealing with it. And about 2 weeks ago I thought, nope, I'm not going to put it on the back burner anymore. I need to figure this out. And so I did figure that out, and I got it live streaming, but I thought I would have a better mic by this time. But oh well, as long as you guys can hear me. And when I'm over there demonstrating, it might kind of sound like I'm in a tin can, but I'm not. I'm just in my stamp room a little farther away from the mic. So, one of the nice things about doing a live stream is that people can ask me questions while I'm doing it. One of the things you're going to need to know is that I have to come back to my computer to look at the comments. And so I may not see them. I may or may not see them. And I hope that people have found me, since I had such a tough time figuring out this whole thing. I went to go live and it all of a sudden said I couldn't. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my other camera because that's where the good stuff is, and we will get started. So, as I said, this is a celebration because Celebration Stampin' Up! Did one this year 2 years in a row. So we have this one starting in August and it goes to the end of September, which is coming up next week. And there's some fabulous stuff in here. This is just a quick little demonstration of a couple of projects. I've got lots of stuff to show you. Like I said, I'll have a door prize drawing at the end. But on this Celebration, just so you're aware, this bedazzling paper is now gone. It sold out about last week, I guess it sold out. And so today we're looking at the Penguin Playmates. This happened to be my favorite paper. I don't know how you cannot love this paper. It's so adorable. So that's what I'm going to be showing today. But there are other things that you need to check out in here because there are some great products. This Feels Like Home stamp set is just, I love the detail of it. You know, I'm really an eclectic stamper, so I like things all the way from Penguin Pals to Feels Like Home, and a lot of stuff in between, just depending on what I plan to do with it. And I will tell you, this past year and a half, I haven't done a ton of stamping. I've done some because I wanted to keep my business up and going. But my goal starting in September, and that's why I scheduled this, was that I was going to start again teaching tips, tricks, and techniques to people using the Stampin' Up! Products, because that's really what I love to do. So Beautifully Pinned is black and white paper that you can just use as black and white, or you can use it with all of our mediums, markers, pens, whatnot. This is a great one. This Peaceful Prints coordinates with our Peaceful Deer bundle, and I just love that. So the Counting Sheep was our newest animal set, which are adorable. And then you can also get a die set as part of a celebration, which is great. Textures and Frames. This is kind of one of those sleepers that people don't really realize it until like this last week. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you can do so much with it. And you can. There's so much you can do with it. Summer Shadows coordinates. It's a die set that coordinates with one of the sets in the big catalog. So if you're interested in that. Delicate Dahlia this was like the kicker for me. I had to have this one, and I have to break the news to you that I haven't even opened it up. But I've enjoyed watching what other people are doing with it. I think it's a beautiful stamp set. It has that new technique that Stampin' Up! Does that makes it look realistic, and it really does look realistic when you just stamp it. And then last but not least is this In Your Words Hostess set, which was a Hostess bonus set. So, like I said, today we're going to use the penguins, and I have to show you this paper because it's so cute. All those little penguins in all the various different sizes. And I will tell you that this penguin here can be punched out with the punch. And then just to show you the back, these are 12 by 12. Just show you the back because there's some fun. I like the color scheme. There was something about the Moonlight Mist, I think that's what it's called, and the Just Jade, the Sea Foam, and the Freesia paper colors. I just love the colors. Okay. The other thing that I'm using today are these snowflakes, these iridescent snowflakes, and they come in a pack of, I think there's 6. I guess I could like totally be right here. Sorry, gang. I had an issue today with the sun. I'm just going to pull this out. And so I wasn't sure that oh yeah, you can see how iridescent it is. Anyway, the sun was blaring in here and it was going to make everything awkward. Yeah, doesn't matter, best laid plans. So these are the iridescent snowflakes, and they are definitely iridescent. You can use them just as they are, but you can also color them with our blends and our inks. And then if you don't want them to be iridescent, you can always use the back side, which is just a flat matte finish. But these are so pretty. And I will tell you, if you decide to order these, save some of these little pieces because our punches will fit inside there and you can have some iridescent punches. Okay, I'm going to just sneak over. I'll put my first card out here so you can see it. I'm going to sneak over and make sure that everybody can hear and that things are going okay. Yeah, it looks like, so audio's better. Good. Okay. I'm not sure that I'm actually live streaming on Facebook at this point. I can't worry about that. So we'll just worry about this. So this is the first card that I made, and you can see where I just cut out some pieces of that paper to use. And I did a lot of cutting. I'm not really a big fussy cutter, but this paper kind of like screamed fussy cut. And so that's what I did. And actually you could just sit down one night with your paper and a pair of scissors and start cutting it if that's what you want to do. But let me show you how I did this card, because it's actually very simple. I took a piece of Just Jade cardstock, and this is actually half of a piece. So you cut it at 5.5, and then it's 8.5 by 5.5, and then it's scored at 4.25. I didn't score this because I always forget to. But there's your card base. Fairly simple. So then I'm going to take my Just Jade ink, and I'm using the Penguin Place stamp set, which is, this is really a cute stamp set. What I liked about it the best was the sentiments, because I think it goes so good with that stuff. And it also comes with a punch. And I know that the punch has been back ordered, so I didn't even use it in this demonstration today because people can't get it. But it is coming back either the end of September or the beginning of October. But this is the punch that coordinates with it. And so there's the punch that you can punch that little penguin out of the paper that I said. But I'm not even going to use that. I'm just going to use the stamp set today. And I'm going to use the snowflakes this time. And I'm just going to stamp down around the edge of my cardstock, and you can turn this stamp. Actually, it doesn't seem to matter. I'm just putting down some stamping, a lot of it actually. And it doesn't look terrible if you do it all the same way, but sometimes I like to just turn either the paper or turn my stamp, just so that I don't look like I'm repetitively doing the same thing over and over and over. Okay, so there's my background. And then I've got these pieces that I've cut. And so I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and cut out these pieces, but I cut these out last night while I was hanging out here. So I'm going to need those too. I'm going to use some of the designer series paper, and I just love this stripe. Cute paper on the back, but that stripe is it's great. And then I've got another piece of soft sea foam. And so this particular piece, I should have written down the measurements, but I'll just pop it up here. So this particular piece is 4.5 by 3.25, and I'm going to take these designer series paper pieces, which are 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares, and add some adhesive. Now what I'm doing is I'm just laying this up here, putting it on my card base, and so I want to show you how I just left a little ridge around there. This one looks smaller than the rest. It is. I'm going to add that and just see how I'm just turning it. Now to me, this one that I cut, it doesn't look like I cut the right measurement, which doesn't surprise me. So I'm going to actually use it. I can still use it. I'm just going to put it here because it's going to kind of be hidden behind the polar bear. So this is just a really great way to use up some scraps of cardstock, or some scraps of designer series paper that you might have, and it just gives a nice textured background. And then I took this piece, which is 3 by 1.25, and just laid that to the bottom. Then I'm going to come in with my freesia, fresh freesia, and the sentiment. Use this one. These are photopolymer, so they're great because you can actually see exactly where you're stamping. and you can get it right where you want it. It says, I like you a lot. And then I'm going to come in with my Iridescent Snowflake, which you just punch out of here. They are kind of delicate, so you want to make sure that you don't get too carried away. And interestingly enough, the inside of this snowflake, Stampin' Up! Made to fit a dimensional. So you can put a dimensional right in the middle, and you won't see it, which is kind of cool. Oops. So I'm going to place this on here, and it doesn't really matter where you place it. And then I'm coming in with my polar bear, which is also going to go on with dimensionals. Put him up there. And then the little fox. I just think that this paper is the bomb. And I don't really want to cover up my sentiment there, so we'll just add that there. And then put some adhesive on this piece, attach this to my card base, like that. And one of the things that I do like to do with cards, especially if the inside of the card is a little bit darker, I actually will put in a layer of basic white cardstock, and this, I don't even know if it's been cut down. Yeah. Has it been cut down? Yeah. So this one is 4 by 5 1/4. And I would put this inside here, and that will give me plenty of room to write a sentiment. The other thing you can do is you can also stamp the inside, or even cut out some of these figures and stick them in there. But I just love the look of that. And then the last thing that I did, just to add a little oomph, I always add just a little extra something. And this is actually very easy to do. It's just using our rhinestones. And so what you're going to do is just add a couple of rhinestones for some bling. And it just gives the card just that little bit of punch. So there's your first card. I'm going to come back to the computer in the hopes that I can answer any questions that there were. So anyway, like I said, I'm trying to, in the hopes that I'm able to see everybody's comments. I'm not. So anyway, just a quick card. So good. I'm glad to see. Yeah, Jean, better late than never. Yeah. You know, it's always interesting when you do these live events, and sometimes they just don't turn out the way you hope that they do. So we do the best we can with what we got. All right, so let's go on to the next card. All of the cards that I'm doing today use that penguin, and all of the cards are really cut out images with a little bit of stamping. And so I'm going to go back to the card over here, to the card that I got set out. I'll put this one aside. Bring in my next one. So this one is fun. I love this. This is like a little peekaboo card. And it uses these dies, which are called Picture This. And this is one of the dies. It just cuts out the circles, but it also cuts out some stitching. And then what you end up with is, when you use it a lot, you end up with a whole bunch of extra pieces of circles with stitching. I just kind of pop these into here, both shapes. There's 2 shapes to this die set. There's also the rectangles. And I just keep those pieces because they can be used on other projects until I get too many, and then I'll do something with them. So, okay. So on this card, let me clean up my stamp. Because that little snowflake stamp, I think I used in every card. Just get these cleaned off so I don't have a real mess going on. I didn't really want to have Just Jade ink in my Frisia stamp set. Okay, so on this card, as you can see, if you peek through the windows, it's got some designer series paper in there. And again, I'm using the snowflake. I did a little embossing, and I did this already because I had this one sitting around as an extra. But I'll actually show how I did it, because embossing is easy, it's fun, and it's really a showstopper. People love it. And again, a couple of rhinestones. One of the things I will tell you about this particular card is I just used the penguins that were at the edge of my paper. So that your paper, let me grab a piece. Your paper comes and it might have a penguin that doesn't have any feet. Cut him out anyway, because you can use him in this piece here. He doesn't need his feet to show. So when you're looking at your papers, you know, don't forget that you can use those pieces that don't have any legs or aren't a complete set. In fact, you'll see on these that I cut, I started to find detail cut them, and then I'm like, well, I'm not going to use his feet anyway. So I quit cutting there. This one, I was going to trim this up and make it cleaner, but I'm not going to use his feet either, so they're fine. This is the piece of designer series paper that I used in the background, and it's these trees, which are beautiful. Of course, you always have to use this side of the paper, but when you like both sides, it's really difficult. But this is a cute card. I'm using soft seafoam as my base color. These are some interesting winter colors. I love them. I love them together. And again, I used a piece of soft seafoam for the card base. And so I cut a piece of 8.5 by 11.5, 8.5 by 5.5, scored it at 4 1/4, fold it in half, and there's your card base. Then I have this extra piece that I'm going to cut and this is actually cut down to 4 1/4 by 4 by 5 1/4. And this is the piece that I'm going to cut my circles out with. So I'm going to, of course my dog's going to bark now because she can. I'm going to let her out, otherwise she's going to keep barking and drive everybody crazy. One moment. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'm actually going to do the Big Shot die cutting at my table here, because otherwise the camera shakes and that little area that I'm working in gets kind of cluttered. But I'm just using the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine that we have, and I will show you. This is the piece. This is how it comes out, but this is how you get all these little stitch circles. I got that cut. So this is the piece I'm actually going to use, and these are all the dies cuts that I can use for another project. So I'll just hang on to those. I'm going to start with this piece first. And we're going to come in with those snowflakes. And again, this time I'm going to use the soft seafoam. We'll have more snowflakes. And again, I'm just stamping this whole piece of paper. And the reason I just didn't stamp it before I cut it out was I don't really need the whole thing stamped. I just need to stamp around the circles and the edges. So there's that piece done. And then when I layer this onto here, you can see how those green trees come out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm coming in with dimensionals. Because I want this piece to be popped up a little bit. Put those on there. I'm adding a few more than normal, just because I can. So there's your dimensionals. I'll go ahead and pull off all these little pieces of paper. So they're moving cows up the bench from my house. And what happened is they've removed the calves from their mothers, and they're not very happy about it. And so there is so much moving going on. In fact, if I had my door or window open, you'd be able to hear it. And it's absolutely driving my dog crazy. So that's why she needs to be outside, because the cows are moving up the bench. So there's that piece, dimensional, put on there. So what I'm going to do is then I'm just going to come in with my other pieces. And again, I'm going to take one of those snowflakes. I didn't color any of mine. I just left them the iridescent color that they were. It never really even occurred to me to color them until I saw another demonstrator, and she was like, have you colored them? Oh my goodness. So you could sponge them. You could use blends. You could use markers, whatever. I just think they're pretty just the way they are. Got a little extra piece there. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one, it's actually going to go right into the middle of that circle. And I just did it with a dimensional so it still pops up a little bit. And then I'm going to take my scissors, and this little guy is going to get tucked down in here, but I don't want his feet to show up in this circle, so I'm just going to cut them off. And again, he's going to go on. I like dimensionals. I like things to be popped up a little bit. Just add something to your card. So I'm going to pop him in there, and I want his... there. And then this one, same thing, I'm just going to cut their legs off. Sounds terrible, but... and then add some dimensionals. And on this particular one, I think his hand was missing too. So that's why he's tucked down so far in. But this one has a full arm, so I'm going to have those sticking out like that. And then I'm going to take my embossed piece. And let me show you how I did that. I need to find a little scrap of jade paper. Just hang on. I think I'd have it just sitting here. I got a real mess going on. There we go. Okay, so here's the jade paper. And I'm going to come in with Versamark and white embossing powder. And I will tell you, when you look at my Versamark, it's dirty, it's old, but it still works great. And as long as I keep it inked up, it's all good. So here's the little stamp I used. I'll put that on the block. Stamp that down with the Versamark. So the Versamark is a sticky ink, and it will, it will put a little bit of watermark onto cardstock, or it's a sticky ink that you can add powder to. Powder such as embossing powder. The glitter has to have something else to make it stick. But anyway, so there's that. And then I'm going to take my heat tool. And in order for your heat tool to work at its finest, it needs to be warmed up a little bit. So just hang on while I turn this on. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the Versamark. So you can use the Versamark ink just to stamp on your card. And I will show you on this one, I used Versamark. You can just barely see the snowflakes. So that's the watermark effect. Versamark is good for resist also. So once this is heated up, then you just run it across and it melts your embossing powder and it gives that raised edge like you see in cards that you buy at the store. That's called embossing. So anytime that you emboss with gold or silver, white or black, those are the colors that I use the most. It's really impressive. So here's the piece. I just cut it out. I actually had a little piece of a quarter cardstock. I like to keep my pieces because this one worked fabulous to just add that embossing onto it. And because it's photopolymer, I can see exactly where I'm stamping. And I'm using my mini dimensionals. I like both kinds of dimensionals. I use them a lot. Sorry about the dog. And then I'm just going to place this right in the middle of that snowflake. I love it. I'm going to flip it over, add some adhesive, find my card base, and add that to it. And I do like to do this quite often with the tone on tone, so the same color on the same color. But I do have another card that's a little bit different. Here's this one here. So this one's just totally different with the same layout. Only what I did is I just used the paper on the back instead of the trees. I used the animals that are sledding. And when I lined up my paper, I just made sure that there were several faces peeking out of those windows. So basically the same layout, just a little different look. This one is blue color, and then the jade paper. I'm also going to add a couple of rhinestones, because you can never go wrong with a few rhinestones. I like to do things in odd numbers and in triangles, so there's that. There's card number 2. I'm going to run and see if there's any questions. If I missed anything, please ask again as I'm sitting. Yeah, it looks like D had some trouble. I know that D, I had some issues with YouTube, and I messed up. It was me. So I don't see any questions. Okay. Yeah. I think we're good. So I do have another card I'm going to show, and then I'll start just showing some samples. And then I just have a door prize and a few other things, and then we'll be good to go. And hopefully the next time I do this, which I'm planning to do it in October, will go a little smoother than this time. All right, so this is that card. I got this other card I'm going to demonstrate, and then I got some other cards I'm going to show you. I got a real mess going on here right now. Let me get... I'm going to have white embossing powder everywhere if I don't move that out of the way. And my stamp. Okay, so this card, this one's cute. They're all cute. Who am I kidding? So this is the next card. And as you can see, I use the fresh freesia, the paper, the cutouts. I did some sponging, which I'm going to show you. And again, the rhinestones. And it's not a hard card. It was just that those animals are just adorable. So let me get started here. Here are the pieces that I used. So these are the pieces I cut out last night. And then I have, this was a piece of basic white cardstock cut in half. So you have 5.5 by 8.5. Folded in half is your basic card size. Like that. And then I use this piece here of the paper, which is the back of this one. I know, it's a tough one to cover up, but I do like the fresh freesia. Now, if you wanted to save paper, you could just cut a couple strips to add on to your card base, but this is easier for me. So this is cut 4 by 5.25, and that just lines up on your card base like that. Gives you a nice edge around at 4 by 5.25. And then I have this piece, which is 3 by 5.25. And this is the piece that I'm going to use to stamp on. And so let me clean my stamps, because I'm not using the snowflakes this time. But I am using, lots of things. So I got that on the photopolymer stamp. I'm bringing in my freesia. I'm going to stamp lots of things at the bottom. And then I'm coming in with one of our blending brushes. And these are new to the Stampin' Up! Big Catalog this year. I love them. They're very thick. They're rounded. But they're really fun for, so you're going to get ink on it. They're really fun for blending and adding some color to cardstock. So all I'm going to do on this one is I'm just going to start in the middle and work my way out. And I'm not pressing terribly hard, because I can always add more ink. Sometimes you get a blotch, but it's going to be, a lot of it's going to not show. So I just want to add color to this and have more in the middle, and then work my way out to just a light tone of that freesia. And then I'm coming in with another snowflake. And I'm going to add this. This time I'm not going to use a dimensional. I'm just going to add it onto my card base. Kind of in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my pieces on. Now this is all one piece. So this was all in the paper. It was all attached. And so I just kept it attached. And I'm going to add it on there. And all of these figures came from the same piece of paper. So I'll add that on there. And then my little fox is going to get added on. They'll just sit here. And then I have a little bunny that was in the same paper. And so you could cut out lots of these little images and then just make scenes with them. Add my little bunny. And then last is this bird carrying the hat, which I just thought was really cute. To bring it all together. And so when this piece is done, I'm going to go ahead and add that onto my cardstock. Cute. And then, of course, a few gems. So I'm going to put one in the middle of that snowflake, and then just a couple of other on my card. And so that's card number 3. Using the same products. So let me show you some of the other cards that I've worked on. Here's one. No, I didn't finish that one. Here's one that I did with that background. So this is using the background paper that I did with this one. Only I used the images. And then I didn't have, nothing was showing out of this window, so I just cut a little fox and put them in there. But every other window had somebody peeking out. So that was kind of fun. And then I made some tags. So just some tags with some of the scraps that I had. I used just a piece of cardstock and I punched it with a label. And then this Be Merry, Be Cool, Be Chill, I stamped once and then I cut it out, each one, to make 3 different tags. I'm waiting for the ribbon that I need for that. It's on back order, of course. And hopefully I'll get these finished up. But these were kind of fun just to do some gift tags with the paper. So you can see where I made a lot of different projects with the same paper, but these colors, I just love the colors of this paper, and it's a fun Christmassy color scheme this year. I like that. So let me quick get on, see if there's any questions. What was the name of the dies? Are you talking the circle dies? I will let you know. Okay. So it looks like Pat had, I do love the tags. Thank you. Yeah, picture this. Thank you, Pat. So Lori, Pat, the dies were called Picture This. And they are actually in the big catalog, so. All right, I'm going to make sure. I feel bad for the people that are out there that don't have any idea I had to move it, but those things happen. There's not much I can do about it. Oh, it looks like Nona got on. Good. That's good. Okay. So a couple of things. Celebration ends on the 30th, which is like Thursday. And so you want to make sure you get into that. I've got a door prize drawing, and I'm hoping that people can find it. So if you're on my website, it's down. There's right below the description. There's a thing that says door prize drawing. If you click on that, fill it out, you're in part of the door prize. What happens is I put a little link on every place I am, and then I add it into a spreadsheet. I pick a number before I look at the spreadsheet, and that is the winner of the door prize. The door prize winner today is getting In Your Words, which is the Hostess stamp set for Celebration, and it's a great stamp set with lots of sentiments. So that's the door prize drawing. So if you're on YouTube, it's down in the description. If you're on Facebook, it's on the button there. If you're on my website, it's it should be down right below where I am. There should be a button. So you need to go ahead and sign up for that. I need to actually get on. I forgot to pull up that screen for myself so I can keep tabs on. Great. Okay, so it looks like people have, some people have found the door prize drawing, so that's great. So go ahead and fill that out while I talk. A couple of things. Oh, I was going to show some more samples, and I've got the samples of my card, of my tutorial. So how I work this as a demonstrator is I produce a tutorial each month that I offer up to anybody that places an order with me. It's a PDF tutorial, and sometimes I do a video with it, and sometimes I don't. This one, I did give a few tips and tricks to some of the projects. I'm going to show you the cards. They're great. And then what happens if your order is over $50, then I actually make up a packet of supplies that I send out to you. So like if you order in September, you'll get the tutorial in September, but you won't get the package of supplies until October. Probably I try to get it out by the second week of October. It just depends on how long it takes me to order and cut up and ship out. And then you get a packet of products that I used in the tutorial. So the cardstock, the designer series paper, any ribbons, and any embellishments come in that little packet. And you can either follow along with my tutorial if you have the stamp set, or you can make up something of your own, but it's kind of fun to get a packet of supplies that all coordinates together. Those come free to anybody that places a $50 or more order. So if you decide that you want to place a big order and it's going to be $150, do not use my hostess code. Just go ahead and place your order, take your hostess benefits for yourself, and then you will get a packet of supplies and the tutorial. I still make sure that that gets sent out. I want you to get the best benefit that you can with what you have as far as your order goes. So let me go back to my desk while you guys are filling out the door prize slip. And then when I come back, we will see if anybody has any questions. And then we will wrap it up. Get the door prize winner done and wrap it up. I will place pictures of these cards on my website and my Facebook after this is over. So let me show you the cards for my tutorial for this time around. So I used Autumn Harvest. Clean up mess a little bit. So Autumn Harvest was the stamp set that I used for the month of September. I love this stamp set. It's going to be available. The stamp set is available. The dies are going to be available, hopefully, Stampin' Up said the 27th of October. So I'm kind of hoping that it gets available before the end of the month so that you can still take advantage of the celebration. This is a great stamp set. This one, I just cut out a tag and cut out the image and colored it with my blends. Used designer series paper. So when you get the packet of supplies that I was talking about, let me show you that. What you're going to get this month is you're going to get some of the cork paper, which actually is really cool. It feels like cork. It is cork. It's cut very thin. You'll get 6x6 sheets of the designer series paper to use in your cards. So this is the designer series paper in that Autumn Harvest. Very neutral on this side, and then very bright on this side. You'll get cardstock enough to make the cards, and so this packet includes Bumblebee, I'm really being tested, Succulent, and then the Misty Moonlight. A couple of sheets of those because I think you need two for this packet, and some basic white and some crumb cake. And then also you will get some of the crocheted ribbon, which looks like this, in your packet. Okay, so that's card number 1. Oh no, and also some of the embellishments. So on this one, you can see I just die cut a bunch of pieces. I actually colored these with our blends. They were white, and I just colored them with blends to make them the colors I wanted them to be. Colored in my flowers. And on here, I used the blends to color that crocheted ribbon to make it a different color. So it would coordinate with, you know, the inside of my flowers and those. This is just a monochromatic card. And I used the Wink of Stella. But I also used the flicking with the blends. And you probably can't see it too well. I guess you can in the flower. But there's a lot of splattering done on that. This is a monochromatic card, so everything is that misty moonlight. I even colored the gems, which were they were either bronze, silver, or gold. But I colored them with the blends to make them the misty moonlight color. This is the card that I did. This is kind of a sculpted card. This took some time. It's got the cork frame. It's just a frame, and then I don't know if you can see that, but I've cut various flowers to sculpt it into some real dimension. The other thing that I did on this one is I used my crumb cake. This was white cardstock and it was just too bold, and so I used my soft or my light crumb cake and just went around the edges to tone that white down a little bit. So I still got the bold color of the flowers and the stems, but I toned down the outside edge so it didn't just overtake the card. And I did the same thing with the banner. I stamped it. To me, it was just a little too bright, and so I just colored over it with the blends. And because we're using water-based ink for the sentiment, the blends doesn't bleed it, so it just toned it down a little bit and gave the look that I wanted for that card. And then this one is bold and bright. I used the paper. I just stamped images that I stamped in a color. This is Cajun Craze, I think, or no, maybe it's Coral, Calypso Coral. I'll have to look on my tutorial. And then some of the soft succulent. And then this is designer series paper that I just cut out, those cattail looking things. And then so I just layered them on there and added my banner that was die cut, stamped with the Misty, and then tied on the crocheted ribbon with a little linen thread. But really so simple. And I think all of these I actually, oh, no, didn't put anything in there. Nope, I didn't do the insides yet, but I will. So this is my tutorial. There must be another one because I'm supposed to have 6. I wonder where it went. Oh, here it is. And then the last card that I did is basically the same using crumb cake. Again, I did that crumb cake technique where I stamped it on white, but then colored the edges with crumb cake just to tone it down a little bit. Added a little of the crocheted ribbon. Added a piece of designer series paper to just give it some more dimension. Tone on tone. So that's my tutorial for this one. So if you place an order with me, you do get the PDFs and any videos that I filmed to make the cards. And then, like I said, if your order's over $50 this month, you'll get your celebration item. Plus, I send the packet of goodies to make the cards. I don't send the stamped images. You'll need that. But, you know, you can always use what I've done with any stamps that you already have. You don't always have to have what I am using. So, that is this month's tutorial. If anybody has any questions, now would be the time to ask. Not that I can see everything, but I can see some things. We're going to do the door prize drawing. And so let me pull that up. So how this works is everybody that's got into the door prize drawing, name goes into a big spreadsheet. I can look at that spreadsheet when I need to. But what I do is I pick a number. Because it's all numbered. I just pick a number and then that person wins this. And what I ask is that you send me, it has to be somebody from the United States. I ask that you just send me a message to either an email at diane@ddstamps.com or a message on Facebook or even a message, I think I can get it through YouTube. I have a lot to relearn in the next few months if I'm going to keep doing these. But anyway, you send me a message and then I get your address and get that out to the mail to you. It'll go out in the mail this week, Monday. So anyway, if you haven't signed up for the door prize drawing, now would be the time to do it. I like to give people a little bit of time to get signed up because there is a lag time in all of these. So what I'm saying, some people haven't heard yet. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm hoping that I can continue to do this kind of thing at least once a month. I'm hoping maybe one Saturday and then one evening during the week. But I have to get myself much more organized if I'm going to do that. Because when my husband passed, I ended up being the owner of an auto parts business, and that's what I'm doing right now, full time plus, to keep that going. I've got my son working for me, and eventually he will take over. But I'm kind of at a point now where I have enough people coming in to work for me that I can kind of step back a little bit from that particular responsibility and kind of do this thing that I love. So it's been an interesting year with all that's gone on. I know that people are a little frustrated with the backorder situation that Stampin' Up! Has, but I'm going to tell you right now that backorder situation is happening across the country with every business that I'm aware of. We're in the same boat at the auto parts store. So people come in for oil, people come in for a filter, we do our best to keep it stocked and get what we can. But it's hard. It's getting a little bit worse right now. Hopefully it'll pick up and get a little bit better. So hang in there, folks. Stampin' Up! Is actually doing a pretty good job with the number of items that they have. That they have a few back orders, and I know it's hard and it's a pain, but it's happening across the country and actually the world. So hang in there. It will get better. Okay, so I'm gonna pick number 17 as our winner of the door prize. Don't ask me why I picked 17. It's just a number I drew, so I have to pull up the spreadsheet so I can see who is on number 17, and I will tell you Karen Ashbaugh. Yay, Karen! Is the winner of the stamp set. So Karen, if you want to just send me your address. Actually, I think I might have it. I'll have to look into my customer, but I don't know if it's absolutely correct. So yeah, Jean, we just have we live in a small town. There's only 2,500 people. It has blown up this year. A lot of people have moved in. We have a lot of houses being built. It's a beautiful, great little town in the mountains. But yes, we are pretty important to the community as the supplier. We supply a lot of the local ranchers and farmers with the parts to keep their equipment going. That's probably our biggest, and our most important is that, and our fire department, police department, sheriff's department, keeping their cars going with what they need. And we're doing a pretty darn good job. It was a big undertaking. I didn't realize that this would be my ending of before retirement was going to be to learn everything I needed to know about auto parts, but was afraid to ask. It was kind of my husband's hobby, and this was my hobby. And I helped him a little bit. He encouraged me a lot in this. And we're surviving. We're doing okay. I'm proud of my son. And I don't know what I would do without him. It's helped. So anyway, I don't want to cry. I didn't want to cry today, so I'm not going to. So Karen, if you want to get a hold of me, I will look up and send you an email if I can. It's kind of exciting. So just remember, celebration ends Thursday, the last day. There's lots to fun things to be had. I do have I'll give you a little sneak peek for next month's tutorial. I don't have anything done for it. I just have the cards sitting here, but I'm just going to quick show them. I'm using the Christmas set and that designer series paper. These were fun. I went to a retreat. Another demonstrator gave a retreat and invited me, and I got to spend a weekend just stamping. And it was so fun just to die cut, stamp, put together cards. It was something I really, really needed to get back into my stamping life. So just some really fun cards. Hey, I'm happy to be back on live. This really is what I like. So Everybody, you want to take care. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. It's Diane Dimich it's Diane at ddStamps.com. If you have an email question, I'd be sure to answer you. So take care and have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.